All right, welcome. We're going to go through and talk about how to find the vertex and zeros of a general quadratic equation. In order to do this, there's very different ways you can figure this out. I'm going through the various, and I'll go through the various different steps that how you can do to explain and how to find these different things. The first off is several different ways of finding the vertex. The first, in order to find the vertex of a general equation, which this is right here of this quadratic, all right, is what we can do is what they found in many different books, is that we can find the vertex by taking the opposite of b over 2a. All right, the opposite of b over 2a is going to be the value of the x value of our vertex. To find the y value, what we can do is we can take the y, all right, and plug in the opposite of b over 2a and figure out our answer. Now, to do this, we can go and take, for example, this case would be opposite of 3 divided by 2 times negative 1 to find our x value of our vertex. This value, when you have right here, is going to equal 3 halves. So we have 3 halves. The next thing is now we want to find our y value. So to find our y value, we can take the 3 halves that we found and plug it into our equation. So we have y of 3 halves, all right, is going to equal negative times 3 halves squared plus 3 times 3 halves minus 2. We can simplify this, and what we have then is 9/4. It's going to be plus 9 halves minus 2. Get a common denominator. We're going to get a 9/4. It's going to be plus 18/4. Then we have negative 8/4. And for our final answer, what we're going to get is, it appears to be 1/4. I think that's right. 1/4 is going to be our y value. So we have a y value of 1/4. And that's how we can find the vertex. Okay. Another common way we can do is that when you're given it in standard form, a lot of times what you can do is you can find the zeros first. You can find the zeros. Okay, because that's one of the things we also want to do. All right, is find the zeros. To find the zeros, we're going to set the y equal to 0, or the equation equal to 0. And zeros are known as the x-intercepts. So when you find the x-intercepts, you actually find the zeros of the function. So when we have this, we're going to take and see if we can factor. I'm going to factor out a negative out here. Excuse me. And then we're going to have negative 3x plus 2, and that's equals 0. From here, we can factor, we get x minus 2, and x minus 1, and the minus right here, and we can find our values. Find the zeros, we realize the 0 is going to equal at 1 and 2. Now, because the zeros are at 1 and 2, and we graph this, we can see that at 1, we have a point, and at 2, we have a point. Now, the vertex, when you draw the parabola, is going to be, all right, in this case, it's going to be down. So parabolas, going to be down right here. But all parabolas have symmetry, and it's symmetry over the vertex. Okay. Now, the symmetry is in the middle of the 2 zeros. So our vertex, if we want to find the x value, and we have our zeros, we can actually find this x value is equal to the midpoint of the zeros. Midpoint of zeros. So just to kind of verify what our x value is going to be, all right, we'll take 1 plus 2 divided by 2. That'll give us our x of our vertex, which happens to be 3 halves. If you notice over here, this was also what we had from doing the opposite of b over 2a. So what we have right here is x equaling 3 halves, using the midpoint of the zeros. And now how do we find our y? We substitute it in there, which we know will be 1/4 because we did all the work in the other part. And that's how we can get our vertex. So that is how we can figure out, all right, how to find the zeros and the vertex of some different problems. We're going to go through another example of how to do this by also finding it, writing in standard form, and then completing the square in our next tutorial.